Good evening and welcome to the Buck Stops Here. The Congress candidate from Saharanpur in Uttar Pradesh, Imran Masood, has been sent to 2 weeks in judicial custody after a videotape of his threatening comments against Narendra Modi in a political speech came out in the open. Today, a Samajwadi Party candidate has targeted Mayawati in a hate speech as well. The BJP's own candidates in Muzaffarnagar are charged with inciting violence but go out and contest and campaign in the same areas where riots took place. Their abuse is almost always condemned by leaders of political parties, yet nothing is done beyond a rap on the knuckles. Time and time again, in spite of calls to clean up politics from corruption, abuse and bigotry, doesn't the failure to do more than simply reprimand indicate disregard for both the voter and basic political ethics?
Not a shred of remorse as Imran Masood walked into 14 days of judicial custody on charges of hurting religious sentiments and threatening death to the BJP's prime ministerial candidate Narendra Modi. The Congress candidate from Saharanpur in western Uttar Pradesh was taped making these comments at a political rally.
वो गुजरात समझ रहा 4% मुसलमान है गुजरात में यहाँ 42% मुसलमान है यहाँ गुजरात में
In spite of condemning the threat and abusive language, Rahul Gandhi made sure to keep his state with Saharanpur to campaign for the same Imran Masood, whose words he distanced himself from so clearly. Falling back on the defense that the speech is not new and it was made months earlier and therefore does not violate the model code of conduct.
हमारे कैंडिडेट ने कांग्रेस पार्टी के कैंडिडेट ने 6 महीने पहले एक भाषण में विपक्ष के नेता के खिलाफ कठोर शब्द का प्रयोग किया और मैं इस स्टेज से कहना चाहता हूं कि उन्होंने जो शब्द प्रयोग किए वो कांग्रेस पार्टी की सोच नहीं है.
As proof, Masood's lawyers say the man accompanying Masood in the video, Sher Singh, died months ago and submitted his death certificate as proof. The prosecution countered it and produced 2 eyewitnesses who say they were present on the 27th of March, 2 days ago, when the speech was delivered.
जी ये विवेचना का पार्ट है, विवेचना अभी प्रचलित है, इसमें जो भी होगा वो चीज देखी जाएगी.
In an increasingly heated and ugly election campaign, the BJP is demanding the Election Commission take action against Masood.
इस प्रकार का बयान हिंदुस्तान के लोकतंत्र को कमजोर करने वाला ये ठीक बात नहीं.
But is this just about violating the model code of conduct? Or does Masood's speech open up the larger question of an increasingly blurred line between taking on the opposition and abuse? And why is there any support for such talk, irrespective of the politician or political party in question?
जिन सरकार में ये मैसेज है उससे यहाँ पर मतों के ध्रुवीकरण की जो गुंजाइश है वो बहुत बड़ी है.
Over the last 2 days that we've spent in Saharanpur, everyone we spoke to said bad roads, bad infrastructure and industry are the biggest issues here. But if a statement like Imran Masood's succeed in polarizing the vote, it would be a tragedy if people here vote not on the basis of issues but on religious considerations. In Saharanpur, Aanchal Vora, NDTV.
Right, well, joining us on the show tonight to ask about whether winnability is more important than the words people use in political ethics, Sanjay Jha, the spokesperson of the Congress party, Gaurav Bhatia, the head of the legal cell of the Samajwadi Party. We're hoping to be joined by the BJP's Pinky Anand in a short while from now, and in the studio, M.K. Venu, the executive editor of the Amar Ujala group, joining us. Sanjay Jha, question to you first. Rahul Gandhi very clearly saying that the words he used, he should not have used, Imran Masood, and yet going on to actually campaign in Saharanpur for the Congress, where Imran Masood remains the candidate and is been sent to 2 weeks of judicial custody.
Well, Maya, I think you have heard it from the Congress Vice President. I mean, he said that whatever Mr. Masood has said, and by the way, we need to completely document that, let it be investigated. But this was made by Mr. Masood several months ago when he was with the Samajwadi Party. As a party, we do not approve of this kind of language. It is being condemned, and now you have heard it from Mr. Rahul Gandhi itself. So I don't want to repeat that again. But I think the big point that we need to really discuss, and always it gets lost because we are always into, looking at what somebody said, what somebody said against him, is what causes this aggressive polarization in our society that makes people, or that perhaps in a great number of ways makes everybody indulge in the kind of talk that is frankly unpalatable. And I do believe in this election, two significant pointers that we are witnessing have to be taken into account. You have 3 MLAs booked for the Muzaffarnagar riots who have been given tickets by the BJP for the Lok Sabha elections. Now, what kind of a signal is being sent to the people of Uttar Pradesh and to the people of India by India's leading opposition party in terms of their communal intentions?
But Sanjay Jha, this is not only a question of the Congress party and the indictment of the Congress. We will take the question to the BJP and the Samajwadi Party as well, whose candidate has today made some comments that are extremely problematic against Mayawati. But the fact remains that yes, you may distance yourself from these comments, you may condemn the candidate for these comments, but the man still remains your candidate. He is now spending 2 weeks in jail.
Well, the point I want to make here is very, very straightforward. You have, and why don't we ask this question? Amit Shah, by the way, is not been acquitted, is out on bail. He is not allowed to enter Gujarat. And he's the face of the BJP. And everybody knows why he went, why he was arrested and why he was in jail. Maya, he was in jail. He was in jail on account of fake encounters against a certain minority community. What kind of, I agree with you. I agree with you. But look at the, I'm asking who's been provocative.
Sanjay Jha, let Pinky Anand respond. Let Pinky Anand respond to you. Go ahead, Ms. Anand.
Maya, I think this is something like saying the pot calling the kettle black and kind of trying to shift the balance to some extent, but I don't see how that it works anywhere. When a statement has been made by a Congress candidate, the same has been condemned. Sanjay, just hold on for 2 more minutes, please. When the same has been condemned by the Congress itself, as you rightly said, the question of continuing with the party, look at the statements he's made. Gujarat mein 42% Musliman hai, aaj Gujarat mein यहाँ पर 42% है, गुजरात में कितने मुस्लिम हैं और उनका कोटी कोटी काट कर बना देंगे. I mean, these kind of statements which are being made against Mr. Narendra Modi, who's and by name, this is not only hatred speech, this is a direct threat. The Congress condemns it, says this is bad, this is something which shouldn't have been done. Then continuing to carry on, and as far as this, let me respond for a moment, though it's not required, it doesn't help their case if anything else is wrong or right. As you rightly said, 2 wrongs don't make a right. But in any case, it is not wrong either. Mr. Amit Shah, prima facie, has been found to have a case in his favor. That is, allow, there's no, if you speak over me, it won't make a point any better or worse. When Mr. Amit Shah has been granted bail by the Supreme Court, prima facie there is a case in his favor. There is nothing which is there which has been proved on record as far as he is concerned. Right. Here the statement is not disputed. I don't think even anybody today is disputing that Mr. Imran Masood has made this statement and he himself, so to say, has apologized. He's been arrested. He's been put for 14 days behind bars on account of criminal cases against him for this very statement. Right. So this is an established fact by everybody, including Mr. Masood.
Let's broaden this a little bit to beyond just what Imran Masood has said, because there is a line over there between sort of the criminality and the threat in that statement, the threat to violence, threat to harm, as well as the idea of a hate speech. And on the question of hate speeches, Gaurav Bhatia, today we've had a Samajwadi Party candidate make some extremely distasteful comments about Mayawati. What do you say about those?
Maya, first of all, I would say your channel has not shown what the comments are. But on a matter of principle, I am saying this, that the Samajwadi Party's ideology is completely different from the BJP, and we have our differences, very strong differences. But I still condemn the statement made by Mr. Imran Masood. And why I am saying this is because you can fight another party on the basis of your ideology, you can oppose them, but a use of such language and a threat is just unpardonable because it damages the democracy that we are living in. Secondly, I would say that the Election Commission should immediately interfere. I saw it in news channels that the Election Commission said that it is an old speech. Now, it is important right now that the investigating officer should provide
Gaurav, the
all
matter
the
has
material
gone to the Central Election Commission
of India,
Gaurav,
and this doubt should
the
be
matter
cleared.
has gone to the Election Commission of
Let
India.
me just make my point. Please don't interrupt. I request
The
you.
point is, you may not know.
I'm
But the matter has
Gaurav
gone to the
Bhatia,
Central Election Committee.
Yeah, go ahead, Gaurav Bhatia, finish your point. We'll come
Yeah,
back to you,
so,
Mr.
and secondly, I think the Congress should also, secondly, I think the Congress should also take action, and it is heartening to see that the state government registered an FIR and then also ensured that the person is arrested.
Okay,
now,
fine.
having said that, there is
just-
an important point that I want to make.
Yeah.
BJP is equally responsible, because what are they doing to the sensitive area of this riot affected area?
let's bring it.
Congress feels a candidate which is spewing
Let's bring
venom,
independent
and
voice into
BJP
this.
feels MP candidates
Let's
who are
bring Gaurav
charge
Bhatia,
sheeted.
let's bring an
Mrs.
independent
Pinky
voice into
Anand
this.
just now
MP
said
Venu, I want
that
to ask you, you're hearing members of 3 political parties come down to the same bickering. The principle in question is, should people who have problematic records, make problematic statements, be allowed to contest, have the backing of their parties? Time and time again, maybe this time the shoe is on the Congress party's foot. In the past, when the BJP has been in the same boat, or the Samajwadi Party, as the case may be, you see a reprimand from the leadership. You see some kind of censure. If the courts take their own course, that's one thing. But as a political party that wants to clean up, isn't it incumbent on them to have candidates who have an ethical face to the public, to the voting public?
Maya, there's an NGO called Association for Democratic Reforms. They have done a study of 380 candidates who have so far been given tickets by Congress and BJP, and they have found that 32% of the BJP candidates have some for criminal record or the other, some serious, some not so serious, and 28% of Congress candidates have criminal record.
That's hardly a difference.
There's hardly a difference. Now we come to the question of why are these candidates being fielded. That's because the reality is there is polarization today in for instance, UP. Mr. Imran Masood is in jail, and my information is that there is a huge sympathy in his favor. It's getting further polarized, and BJP has fielded candidates who are accused in the Muzaffarnagar riots for the same reason, polarization. So it's unfortunate that politics on the ground suggests that polarization pays dividends, even if people have some criminal record or the other.
So in a sense, Sanjay Jha and Pinky Anand, this question.
Maya, I want to just add one thing about here.
Go ahead, Pinky Anand.
You know, as far as this Muzaffarnagar riot is concerned, and the 3 accused, so to say, which are being named that the BJP is fielding the same, you may recently refer to the recent Supreme Court judgment where the SP government has been reprimanded for the kind of issues that it has dealt with and the manner in which it has dealt with the entire situation and the failure of the SP government. I'm afraid, let me finish, then maybe you can respond. The Samajwadi Party strictures has been passed against the Samajwadi Party, though of course further steps were not taken by the Supreme Court, but in categorical terms to say there have been lapses completely on the part of the Samajwadi Party.
The question really, again, we're getting down to the specifics of each individual case, whereas the question perhaps we're asking really is about a larger principle. I mean, the fact that there are these BJP candidates who are accused, who have been given tickets, or the Samajwadi Party is not doing something, or Imran Masood being in jail and yet being able to polarize the vote. The question is, Maya, we are subscribe to this kind of an ideology where they're fielding candidates who have complicated histories.
No, the question is not of complicated histories today. If I think the subject matter might be the hate speech and the threat speech made by Mr. Imran Masood. That is the current context. It is not the context of the criminal records or the criminal past. That is one part of it. Today you have a situation where elections have been announced. The model code of conduct is in place. You are supposed to have free and fair elections. The country's law in terms prescribes that you can't have such hate speeches. Hate speeches are going on at this point of time, which are admitted position by Mr. Imran Masood, which are admitted by the Congress, and no action taken. Exactly. Now the matter, just one more thing which I was saying when Gaurav was saying, you have the matter, you have the matter, just one thing, Maya, we have taken the matter to the Election Commission of India. In fact, in the morning today itself, a complaint has been filed before the Election Commission of India, praying for disqualification of the candidate and for de-recognition of the Congress party on this ground. And this squarely falls within the parameters of the Election Commission's jurisdiction.
So, by the same token, the others accused of hate speeches also fall to the parameters of the Election Commission's jurisdiction, and candidates from across parties.
Maya, unlike, I'm sorry, Masood's case, where
Maya,
there has been
can
a
I
clear
please
admission
respond?
that such a statement has been made. In the case of the BJP candidates who are there, there is no such evidence. This is totally a concocted situation by the Samajwadi Party, and that is why Mr. Bhatia wants to come into the story.
Let Mr. Bhatia respond. Go ahead, Gaurav Bhatia.
Mrs. Pinky Anand, yeah, Mrs. Pinky Anand is actually concealing more than she is revealing. And it is important to know that the Supreme Court was never adjudicating on the guilt of these MLAs. The due procedure is that now these MLAs, Hukum Singh and
there's a scathing party, a scathing comment on the Samajwadi Party. That is the issue.
This is, let me just complete myself. Now, the point is that an FIR was registered against them.
Yeah.
They have been held prima facie responsible for inciting communal violence.
Okay.
A charge sheet has been filed in the competent court.
Okay.
And such people, persons are rewarded by giving tickets for the Lok Sabha elections.
So
what is the point BJP is trying to make to the larger public? That is the question.
Sanjay Jha, let's bring you into this.
The proceedings have been taken by the Samajwadi Party, which itself has been criticized by the Supreme Court.
As well.
That has happened by the Supreme Court.
About polarization at the end
I
of the
think
day.
you're not aware, but charge sheet has been filed on the charges that they were inciting communal violence.
Let's get Sanjay Jha in as well on this. Sanjay Jha, if on the one hand, the Congress is saying, look at candidates from other political parties, they are guilty of polarization, they are guilty of hate speeches, and, you know, what are the other parties doing about them? The question is not, you know, while Imran Masood is today's case, and what is the Congress party going to do about Imran Masood when he's done with his 14 days of judicial custody, whether he made that speech 3 days ago or 3 months ago, not the point. The point is you have a candidate with that kind of an ideology. Now, isn't it problematic for the party to be fielding candidates who talk like this? Forget whether the BJP is doing it or the Samajwadi Party is doing it. We're not condoning what they are doing. What will the Congress do? The Congress is projecting itself as secular and wanting to clean up the space.
Maya, let me just tell you, the Congress party is secular, and it is aggressively secular. And I want to make a point here. You know, there is a case that happened, which is called the Gulbarg massacre case. It happened in 2002. One of the accused in that case,
I don't see where your argument is going, Sanjay. From where
is
you
Mr.
start and
Narendra
where you
Modi.
end.
And Mr. Modi,
Mr. Modi is secular or not secular?
Pinky Anand, give me a minute to speak, please. Pinky Anand, I would like it if you allowed others to speak.
You say the Congress party is
Pinky
secular.
Anand, are you so nervous? Are you so insecure that you're not going to allow others to speak? Maya, I would like a platform where I can communicate without an interruption.
Let Sanjay Jha also get a word in. I mean, you guys really all need to let each other speak and not speak at each other. I shouldn't be having to say this to any of you. Sanjay Jha, carry on.
Yeah, and let me tell you, if Mr. Modi is the prime ministerial candidate of the BJP, I think that by itself is a manifestation of how polarized, aggressively polarized election this is turning out to be. Whatever is happening today is symptomatic of the Bharatiya Janata Party's brazen, blatant campaigning backed by the RSS. I have always said that to you, Maya. This is not an election against the Bharatiya Janata Party. This is an election against the RSS. What you're hearing is RSS voices. Now, I do condemn. I can tell you as a party, we do condemn what Mr. Masood said, even if he said it when he was in the Samajwadi Party, even if the context was something entirely different 6 months ago. But you will not hear the same from the BJP. Varun Gandhi, Vinay Katiyar, there's a whole Uma Bharti. I can give you hundreds of instances, including Mr. Modi himself.
Sanjay
including
Jha,
Mr. Modi himself.
We're going to ask MK Venu. Yes, they've condemned it. Is condemnation enough?
Maya, forget about criminality. The fact is that this election, which is being fought essentially in UP and Bihar, and particularly UP, it is completely being fought on caste and religious lines. It is polarized. Eastern UP, which returns the largest number of MPs from within UP, Modi standing from Varanasi, all the symbols.
Right.
It is the whole top down, the strategy is polarization. So, the BJP may say that it's about development, blah, 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 Gujarat model, etc. So BJP has actually, it is challenging the other parties along polarization principle, and other parties are responding. So So I am very clear that
and it is the reality of this election as well, the polarization.
Polarization is the reality of this election.
Yeah.
There's no point denying this, and there's no point trying to find some other nuanced arguments to say that this is about development, this is about jobs. It's always about development and jobs.
Well,
so
I
what
think
is this about?
That's the unfortunate truth, and the first phase of the polls is the 7th of April, less than a week away now. But we'll have to wait and watch how this really sort of plays out at the polls. We're unfortunately completely out of time on this discussion tonight. Pinky Anand, Sanjay Jha, Gaurav Bhatia, MK Venu, thank you all for joining us. Maybe after the polls, we'll be able to agree on something altogether when we come into the studios as well. Thanks very much for joining me. Well, with the rupee at an 8-month high, moving on to other news, and Sensex at an all-time high as well, the Finance Minister P. Chidambaram has slammed theories that attribute this to a euphoria around the rise of Narendra Modi. Now, speaking to NDTV's Sam Daniel, Mr. Chidambaram says it's a result of measures he took to strengthen the economy as Finance Minister and the centre's stability. He says big business supports the BJP during what he calls Modi's crony capitalism.
Joining me now, the Finance Minister, Mr. P. Chidambaram, who's on a campaign trail seeking votes for his son, Mr. Karti Chidambaram, the Congress's candidate for Shivaganga. So thank you so much for your time. The rupee is at an 8-month high, the Sensex at an all-time high. Many attribute that to the hope rally. How do you look at that?
I'm amused to hear this phrase, hope rally. The rally is due to the fact of a stable government. We have a stable government. In the last 18 months, we have taken a number of measures to strengthen the economy. We have contained the fiscal deficit. We have contracted the current account deficit substantially. We have added to our reserves. We have tamed inflation. This is the reason why the market is responding, not because of some kind of a fond hope. I only wish that the firm hand on the wheel can continue for some more time.
Subsidy is being seen as the hallmark of the UPA, whereas the industry, many business leaders look at Mr. Narendra Modi as someone who is growth-oriented. How do you look at this?
Even Mr. Modi won't make such an extravagant claim. It's obvious that big business, and I'm using the word big with capital B, big business is supporting the BJP. Well, that's because Mr. Modi is known to favor crony capitalism. The hallmark of the UPA government is growth. We delivered 8.5% growth in the first 5 years, and we have delivered 7.2% growth in the next 4 years. The NDA record does not even match 7.2.
Well, Finance Minister P. Chidambaram, who is staying out of the electoral race this time around. That's the news from me tonight. Stay tuned to NDTV for all the latest news updates. We leave you now with images of some of our programs and colleagues winning at the News Television Awards tonight.
Welcome to the 7th Annual News Television Awards.
Investigative program Hindi goes to Vote Ka Khot, NDTV India. Auto show Hindi goes to Raftar, NDTV India.
हम लोग मालिनी अवस्थी की पाठशाला.
The award for talk show English goes to We the People, NDTV 24/7.